And we have new information tonight coming out of tornado-struck Oklahoma. The destruction in the Oklahoma City suburb of Moore is truly unbelievable.
And here is what we know. The death toll, according to Oklahoma officials, stands at 24. 9 of them are children, and 7 of those children were found in the Plaza Towers Elementary School. 2 others were found elsewhere. 237 people are being treated for injuries. They are all scattered at various medical facilities in and around Oklahoma City.
Now, rescue crews continue their search tonight in the rubble of schools and homes, hoping to find more survivors. Nashville's News 2 has a crew in Moore, Oklahoma. News 2's John Dwyer joins us live tonight. John?
Greetings from Moore, Oklahoma, where the sun is trying to peek out, which seemed very improbable just a couple of hours ago. A torrential downpour, even some hail. It dampened and really stopped some recovery efforts here in this small town that's about 10 miles south of Oklahoma City. It's about half the size of Murfreesboro, 55,000, 20,000 without power right now. This is the scene that is played out in the subdivision I'm in over and over again, where some of the collectibles are found in the rubble, and the residents will come back perhaps and get them one day. But as we walk down here, we are about a mile away from the elementary school that was devastated. The hospital that was severely damaged is just on the other side of that bluff. It has been a very difficult day. The weather really hampering efforts, also some confusion about some of the roadblocks and people trying to get in back to their place to see what they have left. A little while ago, the governor of Oklahoma said this.
I want to personally thank Administrator Fugate, who has joined us here with FEMA. They have done a superb job in working with our city and state and federal leaders here. We appreciate you, Administrator. We appreciate your very prompt response in answering our disaster declaration for our state and giving us approval on that. As you know, Administrator, not only did we have the storm that passed through yesterday, but we also had storms and loss of life and loss of homes and businesses on Sunday when the storm actually began to roll through the state of Oklahoma.
Resiliency is seen just being here, and they look at me. You get it, don't you? I said, absolutely. We understand a little bit what's going on. Here's a good indication. Some folks and some friends of the Justin Jeffin family, they're helping, trying to find some things. And Justin just told me a little while ago, he came out of the rubble there. He's the one driving the car. He had this ornament, this ceramic ornament, and he kind of looked at it and smiled. And I said, I don't want to ruin your thought, but what do you think? And he says, I just didn't think I'd find things like this. You can't replace mementos. This was my grandmother's, and she, it reminds me of her. So we're finding incredible stories like that, but we do know that there are months, years ahead of rebuilding here. Tonight at 5 o'clock, we'll have the story of a woman that came out that wanted to just find memories of people she didn't even know, and she has an intriguing story. We'll have that for you at 5. But now, reporting live from Moore, Oklahoma, John Dwyer for Nashville's News 2 at 4.
Thank you, John. Appreciate the update. Well, to give you an update now on the devastation in Oklahoma caused by what is now an EF5 tornado. News 2's John Dwyer joins us live tonight from Moore, Oklahoma. John?
And we continue to give you perspective from Moore, Oklahoma. At the top of the hour, we are on the other side of the block there in a cul-de-sac where the houses are just rubble. Here's a parking lot. The foundation is there, but this used to be a 7-Eleven convenience store. That is gone. Then we work our way here. This is the medical office building and the hospital, as you can see, severely damaged. And then down the road a piece, the good side of a movie theater. We continue to see people like this walk and gather and get their things. Folks, can I ask you real quick, did you have a house in there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Back on 8th Street.
Yeah, and are you able to get anything out of it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty... There wasn't a great deal of damage like most of what you see right here. I mean, the roof's messed up and the siding's broke, but it's outside of not having water and power, it's still pretty livable.
You have your precious cargo, which is really the most important thing. When does this sink in?
A couple weeks from now, probably, when the power comes back on. I don't know, man. It's pretty surreal.
You guys have a great spirit about you. I wish you well.
Thank you.
All right, and that's really the tone people here. It's we're going to make it. We're going to get through this. I saw another family walk through, and among the things they were carrying, it was a frozen pizza that they were able to salvage from the refrigerator, which now has no power. We'll continue to chronicle the damage here in Moore, Oklahoma, of the now EF5 tornado. Been upgraded more than 200 miles per hour. It tore through here yesterday. Reporting live from Moore, John Dwyer, Nashville's News 2 at 4.
All right, thank you, John. Thanks for the update, and thankfully that family seems to be okay.
That's incredible right there.
I could hear the roof going, and then I could start seeing small holes and insulation falling on me, and I could see the swirl of the tornado as it goes by.
It looked like a war zone. It just looked like bombs had been ignited everywhere. There's a car part in my bedroom.
And I couldn't hear anything except cracking and kids screaming.
I'm 55 years old, and I've never experienced anything like this.
Devastation in Oklahoma, and Nashville's News 2 is there. Good evening, I'm Ann Holt.
And I'm Bob Mueller. Nashville's News 2's John Dwyer is in Oklahoma tonight. He joins us live with more on this developing story. John?
The weather has cleared up considerably here in Moore, Oklahoma, a city of some 55,000, about half the size of Murfreesboro. It's 10 miles south of Oklahoma City. And this is what we're dealing with, folks. This is a field that has strewn with debris, and folks are trying to find anything they can here. I can tell you that we came here a little while earlier, and there were a couple of blankets over objects. We weren't sure it was actually family pets they had to take away. We also found in scrub. She had just gotten off work, and she came to find photos. Keep saying, go to a central place here in the Oklahoma City area, and people know that's where they can find their photos. They said, that is an incredible gift that she's doing. And she goes, it's the least I could do.
It's sad. It breaks my heart to come see this, but, you know, just to give somebody a little something back is everything to them, so I don't know. Sorry. It's just hard to see. You know, May 3rd was bad, but this is even worse.
Back here live, we have some folks here that are taking some of their belongings out. Go ahead, folks, come on through. Did you all have a house back here? You're looking at a storage unit? What about you? Yeah, you had something over here? You had a house?
Yeah, we're together.
Yeah? How is the house?
It looks bad for what we've seen.
Have you been able to get anything out of it?
No, that's what we're trying to do now.
How do you folks stay so calm? Is it just that you're not matter of fact, but have you had a good cry?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet, but I will.
I don't want to be the one that does that, but I appreciate your time. Again, folks are here they're going to use the rest of the daylight to get things done.
What we've seen from my sister that worked at the hospital.
Yeah, that's not
She
good.
crawled out of the hospital and walked to our house to see what was left, and that's what she gave us a picture of. So, and I don't think the reality set in with my mom yet, but it's going to. It's going to be real bad. So it's just time to keep your heads up high and rebuild. That's all we can say. But
Godspeed. We'll have more reports for you at 6 o'clock. But for now, John Dwyer live in Moore, Oklahoma for Nashville's News 2 at 5.
Thank you, John.
Live from Music City, Nashville's News 2 at 6 starts now.
In highly populated areas.
Everything's gone, you know. Just in a matter of 30 minutes, your whole life is torn upside down.
Me and 4 other guys pulled a teacher out. She was on top of 3 kids. The kids were fine. She was hurt pretty bad. We put her on a door and then put her on top of a Jeep and wheeled her out to the ambulances because there were so many cars around.
The neighborhood is not standing anymore. It's completely gone.
Oklahoma residents begin the long recovery from the incredible damage caused by an EF5 tornado. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Ann Holt. The National Weather Service says wind speeds of more than 200 miles per hour cut a path of destruction 17 miles long and more than a mile wide.
Today, though, a ray of hope. At least 100 people have been pulled alive from the rubble. News 2's John Dwyer joined us live tonight in Moore, Oklahoma. John?
Through this rubble, and this is just a site that we're going to pan around and just show you. A subdivision leveled in Moore, Oklahoma, and some buddies are out helping a girlfriend find some pictures, and they're cackling as if it's a tailgate. The mood here has picked up throughout the day. One, it is sunny out, and it rained a bunch this morning, and that helps out. But also what helps out, the fact that there's more and more people out here and a real sense of community. I heard you laughing and smiling, and I said, you've got to tell the story of what you found that made you, your home destroyed, smile.
Actually, I found this doll over there in just some rubbish, and this was a doll that I got from a First Communion, and it just says a prayer, and it's just saying that Jesus is with us at all times. And
Go ahead and play it. Go ahead and play it.
Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Guide and guard me through the night, and wake me with the morning's light.
I don't know if you could hear that, but it goes on, and it works. Why do you have such an spirit of uplifting right now?
All my family is alive and safe, and that's all that matters. We can rebuild anything. We can replace clothes, different stuff like that. But pictures, what we're finding is acceptable, and it's just a great feeling to be alive and know that everything is okay.
It is such an unorthodox way to spend a Tuesday night, and you guys are doing a great job, and I'm telling you, people in Middle Tennessee are pulling for you all. That's a number of the stories. We'll have more for you tonight at 10, and look at WKRN.com as we're following some stories there. But for now, reporting live from Moore, Oklahoma, John Dwyer for Nashville's News 2 at 6.
Well, tonight, Oklahoma residents begin to recover from the incredible power of an EF5 tornado. 24 people are dead and hundreds are injured. Officials are confident, though, that all survivors have been recovered and no more bodies are in the rubble. News 2's John Dwyer joins us live in Moore, Oklahoma.
With the first full day after the devastating tornado coming to an end, we know some hard facts. We do indeed know it was an EF5 tornado, the most dangerous and deadly, more than 200 miles per hour, the wind speed causing this devastation and so much more. We know that it was on the ground for 40 minutes, and we know it was 17 miles long, the path. What can't be measured is the resiliency of Oklahomans. As the sun lowered on what seemed to be an endless pile of rubble that just Monday afternoon was a thriving neighborhood, the scavenger hunt for family keepsakes kept turning up small victories. Is there a hair alert on one of these pictures? Is that your kids didn't know you had hair? They're going to say, "Who's that guy?"
That's right. I'm taking this as proof that at one point I did have hair right now.
Laughter and smiles and perspective from a young woman whose house was obliterated. You see, her friends keep donating anything she needs.
So I'm getting lots of help, definitely. They need addresses to send it to, and I really don't have an address to send it to, but I can send it to a friend's house and they'll deliver it to me.
And her boyfriend can already sense a change in spirit.
It gets better by the hour. We see people doing the same thing we're doing. So yesterday was emotional, and today is a little brighter.
And maybe tomorrow, loved ones will hold each other a little tighter. Oklahomans showing their impressive true colors. And the story of heroes are emerging. That movie theater that was so badly damaged, the manager was credited with saving lives, getting people together, getting them out of there. And that movie theater that plays happy movies and sci-fi and all that acted as a triage and also a part-time morgue. I can tell you that talking to the people here in Oklahoma, there is still shock, and the next few days will be reality. And we will be here to chronicle it. Reporting live from Moore, Oklahoma, John Dwyer for Nashville's News 2 at 10.
Thank you, John. 24 hours after the storm hit and the images coming out of Oklahoma, well, they still remain heartbreaking. This scene's being repeated over and over in Oklahoma tonight. Animals being reunited with their owners. Some cases, that's not the case. Another shot we can show you, an animal, this one sitting guard, waiting for its owner. The owner unfortunately passed away. The dog, though, was later found. The destruction, the power of the storm still shown in many of these pictures. Look at these vehicles. There's nothing left. You can see the holes where stuff struck that car. Buildings just gone, the top's gone, the roof's gone, and cars just twisted and strewn in the debris. It's that way throughout the area. This was somebody's living room at one point. Nothing left but one wall standing. These are the scenes throughout the area, throughout Oklahoma tonight.
Destruction. Nashville's News 2 did send our crew to Moore, Oklahoma to see the damage firsthand and hear some of the stories of those affected.
Yeah, our own John Dwyer joins us live now from the heart of the destruction.
Good Wednesday morning for Moore, Oklahoma, with sunrise less than an hour away, and it will be a much better day for recovery efforts here because the sun is expected to be out, no inclement weather like yesterday. And the recovery efforts will continue. As you can see, I'm in a parking lot that used to be a convenience store. This is now twisted like a gum wrapper. Just amazing, the damage as you come here and you survey things. Can also tell you that as we talk to folks who are surveying the damage and trying to find and pick along their belongings out of the rubble, that a young man who has Nashville ties, he chuckled when he saw our logoed shirts and said, hey, I have some friends that live there. He says, you know, when you go and find things and you get neighbors helping neighbors, every little bit helps.
We found wedding pictures of the neighbors and they were ecstatic, so it's a good thing when you find those types of deals.
You made your neighbor's day.
Exactly. And they've made ours on both sides. They found stuff that we couldn't have found, so it's a neat deal.
As we were driving to our hotel last night, I was really taken by when we came in one part of Moore, which is about 10 miles south of Oklahoma City, a town that is about half the size of Murfreesboro, about 55,000. Lots of power out, and the swath of the tornado and the destruction of subdivisions that really haven't been touched or highlighted because, frankly, they're not letting any of the media in. But the damage is wide. The path was 17 miles long, and it has left quite a scar on this landscape. These folks here, they're undaunted. They say quickly, rebuild. Social media has been a huge part of the recovery efforts, especially for folks trying to keep in touch with each other now that some of the cell phones are back working. In our next half hour, we'll touch upon that. And then later, we'll talk about the Moore County school system and what they're going to do here in Moore to make sure that all the students will be a bit safer the next time, if it ever happens again. We'll see in about a half hour. But now, reporting live from Moore, Oklahoma, John Dwyer for Nashville's News 2 this morning.
John, thanks for getting up early and giving us that update. Nashville's News 2 did send our own crew out to Moore, Oklahoma to see the damage.
John Dwyer joins us live now from the heart of the destruction. John?
The sky is lightning here in Moore, Oklahoma. Sunrise just 15 minutes away on the second full day after the devastating EF5 tornado that ripped through here Monday afternoon. The good news is what's not changing, the death toll. It stands firm at 24 after it was recalibrated a few hours after the storm. They haven't found anybody else, and that's a good thing because people heeded the warning and most people took cover and we're going to be okay. Of course, a lot of homes destroyed. We talked to one woman whose home was obliterated, and she mentioned why it was so important to have social media.
Lots and lots and lots of people have called, text, Facebook, Twitter. Are you okay? What can I do? They've all asked me my sizes for shirts, T-shirts, moms, for my mom, for my sister, for everything. So I'm getting lots of help, definitely. They need addresses to send it to, and I really don't have an address to send it to, but I can send it to a friend's house and they'll deliver it to me.
How about that smile? She did admit she hasn't had a good cry yet. She thinks that's a few days away. We've been on social media. You can follow us at WKRN.com and on Facebook and Twitter. We've been putting our coverage up there. If I may just pivot just for a moment, I worked with Julie for a few years on the morning show, And, Julie, just know that with Justin and Neil and the whole gang there, that the next 50 minutes will feel maybe less like a goodbye and more like a roast, a demented sign of affection. You will be missed. I can tell you in our next half hour, we'll talk about the more schools here and what school officials want to do if there is a next time. We'll have that for you in a few moments. But for now, reporting live in Moore, Oklahoma, John Dwyer for Nashville's News 2 this morning.
All right. Thank you, John.
As always, we invite you to stay with us through the day and online on all our platforms for continuing coverage. Well, Nashville's News 2 did send our own crew out to Moore, Oklahoma to see the damage and to hear some of the stories of those affected.
John Dwyer joins us live now from the heart of the destruction.
The sun is now good day for residents to get some traction on finding some of their belongings. One of the subdivisions here obliterated. As we walk around here, you can see this must have been a boys' room, the Oklahoma City Thunder NBA pennant hanging on what's left of the wall. I say a boy because there's an incredible Hulk poster there as well. Most of this is not going to be salvageable. It is ruined through the mud and the debris and so forth. But folks do want to find belongings. They want to find pictures. That seems to be the one thing that folks just want to find through all of this. They don't care about any of the other possessions, but they want their keepsakes, things that they simply can't replace. We have some new information about the city schools here. We know that about 100 of them have storm shelters, and they're already talking about rebuilding the 2 that were destroyed and killed several children. Those 2 did not have storm shelters. They're talking about the rebuild, and they're saying when we do rebuild, and we will have storm shelters in those schools. By the way, school, which was supposed to be the last week this week, has been called off in this city of 55,000, about half the size of Murfreesboro. And so they're just going to continue on the recovery efforts. We're going to continue our coverage. Check out WKRN.com. We're on Facebook and Twitter as well. And we'll be here for the afternoon newscast throughout News 2 this afternoon and this evening. Reporting live from Moore, Oklahoma, John Dwyer for Nashville's News 2 this morning.
All right. Thank you, John.
News 2's John Dwyer is live in Moore, Oklahoma this afternoon. John?
Bob and Ann, it is a sunny Wednesday, and this is good weather for recovery efforts. This is a perspective of what we're dealing with. You can see some of the debris, mostly cars that are totaled, and that is their version on the other side of our I-65. That's I-35 that runs north and south through Moore, Oklahoma, up to Oklahoma City, and that has been gridlock. Actually, it's moving pretty well for this hour. None of the exits going into Moore are accessible from I-35, so the traffic has to move on by. Here's another perspective of what we're seeing. This is the movie theater that has been talked about so much, that was used as a triage area and actually a makeshift morgue. They have a new sign on the marquee, and there's a sign of the times. 13,000 homes have been estimated to have been damaged. Many people are being able to get back into the neighborhoods. The curfews have been lifted. Today is a good day to start recovery. There's actually a tent city of sorts for people starting their claims on their auto and their home. And we went over there earlier today, and that's helping people with the healing process. They want to get out. They want to do something. Many people we talk to have not been able to get back to their homes. And today or tomorrow is going to be that first step, along with just getting the paperwork. And we'll talk more about that at 5 o'clock. But for now, reporting from Moore, Oklahoma, John Dwyer for Nashville's News 2 at 4.
Hey, John, Bob here. You've been there a couple of days now, and while there will be a recovery, and the folks seem very positive, is it beginning to settle in that this is going to be a very long recovery for these folks?
There is no question that they know what they're in for, because they've had 3 very significant storms, tornadoes, go through here in 14 years. And when you talk to each and every one of them, they use May 3rd as a reference point. That's 1999. There was also a storm in 2003. So they know this is the long haul. We also talked to some Nashville area Red Cross volunteers, and you talk about recovery efforts, Bob. They have to be here a minimum of 14 days or they don't sign up and go. They all pack for about a month. They're retirees. They want to help out, and we'll have those stories throughout the newscast as well.
Resilient folks. John Dwyer in Moore, Oklahoma. Thank you, John. Devastation in Oklahoma, day 3, and the latest information puts the death toll at 24, including 2 infants.
Today, we learned that President Obama will visit the area on Sunday. News 2's John Dwyer joins us live from Moore, Oklahoma. It's the hardest hit area on the outskirts of Oklahoma City. John?
Ann and Bob, Homeland Security officials were here touring the area earlier today. When you've been here a few days, this becomes immune to you. You see cars that are totaled, just left. And that is a major highway here through Moore up to Oklahoma City. That's I-35. That is their version of our I-65. And across it, significant damage in other subdivisions. As you look this way as well, you can see more piles of rubble. So the recovery efforts continue. It will take a long time. And the next step of this process is to help the people who are helping people. A handful of Nashville area folks arrived here a short while ago. American Red Cross volunteers.
I don't know how I'm going to react when I actually get to interact with people who have lost everything. My heart was broken as I saw the children being brought out of the school and saw the pictures of the horses and animals and stuff that were impacted.
They haven't been dispatched yet, but when they are, they'll hand out hot meals and more.
If they cry, we cry with them. Just comfort them as we feed them. That's, you know, and try to answer what questions they can and just give them comfort. A lot of people just need somebody to vent to, just let it out.
Or they need symbols that you'll be able to see from the interstate, like that over a ravaged movie theater. You can see the marquee saying, "God bless Moore." All types of signs of high hopes here because they've been through this before. But people like Deborah and Tom King, Bob Stafford, who you just heard from, Susan Scout and Bob Foy, they are all from the Nashville area Red Cross, all now here, and they've packed for 2 weeks. They know they'll be here for a while, although Rob has been to Hurricane Sandy and all that, and he spent 93 days there, so they've packed more than 2 weeks' worth. Back to you.
John, we know that the folks in Moore have been through this before, and while it is still very, very tough, I would imagine some of this process is familiar.
It really is, Ann, and I think among the threads of themes going through today, and you'll be hearing the next few weeks, is of all this devastation. You don't want to say just, but a lot of people thought more than 24 people died in this. So a lot of people hunkered down. They knew where to go. And there is a tent city where that's been set up for claim adjusters to take care of people that have been through this. Unfortunately, they know the drill, but they're not moving. They're going to, we hear it all the time, rebuild. We'll have a fascinating story about a woman who rode out the storm in a bunker. You have to see it. We're going to have that at 10. But for now, reporting live from Moore, Oklahoma, John Dwyer for Nashville's News 2 at 5.
All right. Thank you, John. Appreciate the update.
While many people deal with the tragic loss, we're hearing about so many stories of survival. Our John Dwyer is on the ground in the heart of that destruction. And John, you've been finding a lot of families who simply rode out the storm.
They did. We have a story. I talked to somebody who had 9 children, and they were in their storm shelter, and they were able to ride it out. And you hear that time and time again. We know that people's psyches will heal. We know also that this is not a priority. A bunch of debris that's here. This won't be moving for a while. But what folks here want to get moving is their lives. Get it back in order. And Oklahomans, they have a system. A tent city is helping out. That's taking over a parking lot in a church. It's actually one-stop shopping for home claims, auto claims, and just getting life's paperwork in order while holding life's precious cargo. How's Bandit? Will Bandit need therapy, or are we good?
He might. He was pretty traumatized as debris came through the roof and that kind of thing, and it was pretty scary whenever it hit the house, so... But I think he'll be okay.
And it's a place for folks to just go and feel like they're moving forward.
It gives you some kind of direction. I mean, so they're not letting us into our house or our neighborhood or anything. So that's all we can do till we can get in. At least we can start the claim process.
And they have patience, just not for looters.
People aren't all geared the same way. People are greedy and people, just think about themselves, whereas other people that are here helping are thinking about other people.
And authorities have made sure that there's not any looting. Only 2 people have been arrested. And those folks, there's names, they haven't been released. And that's probably a good idea. Back to you.
John, we're hearing that there's some new information out there about the warning that residents got before the storm hit.
Yeah, there is, and we know that it was a 16-minute warning before the EF5 hit ground and tore through. And the average is 14 minutes, a 14-minute warning. So they're good here, and imagine what that 120 seconds, extra seconds, meant saving lives. Tonight at 10, the story of the woman that saved 9 children. Her dramatic story, that's at 10. But for now, reporting live from Moore, Oklahoma, John Dwyer for Nashville's News 2 at 6.
All right, John, we'll talk to you at 10.
As John said, our coverage of the devastation in Oklahoma continues tonight on News 2 at 10 with another report from John, plus more updates on our website at WKRN.com.